And welcome back to TheNosePlays Sunless Sea Zubmariner. This will be part 3 in our series. And things are going pretty well for us now. Things looked a little bit dire at the end of the first 2 hours, but we recovered nicely with all of our port report cash and fuel, and managed to plot a pretty successful trip this last time out to sea. We earned some new secrets, we got some new echoes, we actually accomplished a couple of real interesting tasks. The most important task that we managed to pick up was the Pirate Poet. We managed to sink a pirate ship that had the Pirate Poet aboard the previous episode, and yeah, we bountied her off for 400 echoes, so that's why we're actually doing pretty well here with our 400 echoes. But we've actually just returned to Fallen London, and because we had the Something Awaits You icon when we arrived, we get this special little breath of relief that happens every time you come back to Fallen London with that enabled. As soon as the gangplank touches the quarter side, the terrors of the deep sea lighten. Walk taller, smile more readily, but what dreams may cling. Anytime your terror is above 50, if you get to London, it will be reduced back to 50. Coming home. Terror is always reduced to 50 when you return to London. If it's higher, however, if your terror was high, you may suffer nightmares later. So we now have 1 Menace's Nightmare Strength. If we have nightmares later on, it could lead to more terror accumulation and other problems. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, we managed to mitigate a lot of our terror near the end of that voyage. We were pushing, I think, 70 at one point, and got all the way down to 51 by the time we got back to London. So this wasn't as useful as it could have been, but now we know several places where we can remove terror at a fairly cheap price. And there's a couple of different ways to do that if you really want to get your terror lower. Running with terror lower than 50 is helpful if you're going to go on a very long voyage. But it's not really necessary as long as you're able to manage it. As long as you're able to keep it below about 70. We should have several things that we need to get done. The first thing that we'll go do is we'll visit our lodgings. I actually have to click the continue button here. And we have messages from the harbor master. All the clatter and song of the dockside, it soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? Well, there might be. Ah, yes, several messages, in fact. Something has changed in the Neath. Another day, time the healer. Your time at Z will change you, and London. So there is a clock, a pseudo clock within the game, and certain events will unlock or trigger after a certain number of times or days have been accumulated. We can look up how many of these, I think, somewhere in our journal, perhaps. So we might look at that a little bit later. Someone wants to sign on. The Blind Bruiser is meeting us at the dock. And a couple of other things. So let's see. Who do we want to talk to first? Let's go to our lodgings first and collect the recent news and gain our supplies and lower our terror by 1. Resting at our room above the blind helmsman isn't a very good or efficient way to remove terror, and we're not in dire need of removing any at the moment, so I'm going to leave that for now. We'll go back to the rest of the city real quick, and the first thing that we probably should do is deliver the Sphinx Stone that we were carrying. Special constables, black uniforms, distinctive caps, the badges of the Ministry of Public Decency, wait with a cart. We spent 200 echoes on these, and we got 500 echoes in return. So this is actually a really efficient way to make some money in the early game. Sign, here's a receipt, here's a discretion contract, here's a penalty contract. Your vision is blurred by the end of it all. The cart rumbles off into the coiling fog. Here's your reward, 500 echoes. We've lost 2 terror, and we have no more Sphinx stones. So our hold is now ripe and ready to be refilled with all of the pleasantries that the Dark Spectacle Man might give us. So we'll go talk to him and deliver all of our port reports real quick. I'm mostly going to zip through these. There's not much to be said, but we'll try to remember to read some of the new ones. So Mount Palmerston is a new one that we just picked up. The Brimstone Convention. They trouble me, Captain. You no longer have a port report from Mount Palmerston. You've gained 40 echoes and 1 fuel. Also, Admirality's favor has increased because it's the first time we've done that one. Wither we did not do until this last barrel voyage. I refuse to ask any questions. I don't want to give them the satisfaction. 20 echoes and 1 fuel. The rewards are pretty much always the same for most of the ports. The only thing that really changes is the Admirality's favor is only available the first time you visit, and there are a few exceptions to that, such as Station 3, as we saw. What else? Shepherd's Isle, we've already done that one. Canal, Iron Republic. The Isle of Cats was a new one. What does the so-called Pirate King have to say for himself these days? Ah, yes. Well, we did rather know about his rose gardens. Not good news that they're prospering, though. Really should have nipped it in, if you allow me, bud. Ha! And trading with the Khanate, with the Iron Republic? Brother, I may have to have a meeting about this. 30 echoes for the trouble, and a fuel. What else? Cumin Canal, we did that one. Port Carnelian was a new one, I believe, as was the Grand Geodan Codex. I sometimes wonder whether that place was a good idea. I didn't say that. 30 echoes and 1 fuel. Codex was a new one. Exiled for giving answers. That's Wither for you. Anything new? 20 echoes and 1 fuel. The Grand Geode. The Grand, yes. Yes, of course. We're generally quite well informed on that topic, but since you're here, perhaps you may as well let us know what your own impressions were. The Admiralty office officials takes note scrupulously, but with an expression of mild terror, like a novice vivisector wincing with a scalpel. The rest of the office studiously busies themselves with other tasks. 10 echoes for that and a single fuel. And I think that's all of the new ones. Yeah, so we'll just zip through these other ones real quick. I'm not going to read them. But we should end up with a nice stockpile of fuel. We'll take a look at it in a minute. Good evening. And what a marvelous evening it is, if you don't mind me saying so. And given it is my impression you are an obliging sort, I imagine you will not mind at all. And since you are so very obliging, perhaps you wouldn't mind making a little detour via Mount Palmerston with a few articles of cargo. If you happen to be in the area, the Cherry Man will of course cover your expenses for this trifling inconvenience. You will need at least 1 unit of space in your hold. We can accept the mission, or we can ask if there's another task you could perform instead, or we could refuse the commission. We fully plan on going back to Mount Palmerston, so Mount Palmerston is an important part of any loot to the north because of how cheap fuel is in that particular location. So it's definitely something we're willing to do, I believe, at this point in time. The only question I have is, do we have at least one spot of cargo space? And surely we do, since we did not get enough fuel. This hasn't updated yet, but we did collect all that fuel from the Admiralty, so we'll accept the commission. We now have 1 unstamped crate of brilliant souls. If you would be so kind as to deliver this little gift to our friends in Mount Palmerston, then they will see we get to hear about it. And when you come back, we'll cover your expenses. Bon voyage, as my aunt, who was French by birth, if not by inclination, used to like to say. Mount Palmerston is generally somewhere in the northeast of London, and that is almost always where it will be. It can be in a slightly different location, but it's always going to be basically northeast of London. So between that and the Port Carnelian, where they have cheap fuel as well, you have a place to the northeast and to the southeast where you can refuel your ship. Making those part of your normal routes is pretty important, and you can see our echoes. We have a lot more echoes this time than we did before. We don't want to spend all of them, but we're going to spend some of them today. And we're not done yet. We have some other things that we can do here, it looks like. I'm not sure if there's anything else we need to do with him. We do have 2 of these. I'm tempted to keep one. There are a couple of different quests and challenges that sometimes benefit from having this in your possession, but we can turn one of them into him and we'll get a small fee. So we get 30 echoes for turning one of those in. That's not bad. That's basically 1 fuel and 1 supply at most stations. We'll keep the other one though. We still haven't found the funging station, so we don't have the vital intelligence or whatever it was he was looking for yet. So we'll have to keep looking for that. So I think we're done with him. Let's visit London real quick. Now we can visit the Wolf Stack docks. This is a great place to spend your 10 echoes if you want to lose some terror. There's some other events that can happen here that are pretty good. We also should probably hire on some more crew, and there's a new recruit who's interested in joining. This is a cheap way to get 1 sailor. We'll simply increase your crew by 1 for only 5 echoes, so we'll go ahead and do that. That gets us up to 6. And then for 30 echoes, we can try and get some more. This can hire, I think, as many as 3. Hire on more crew. Sensible sailors are looking for a safe run to the Tomb Colonies, or at least a sane run to the Southern Archipelago. You'll need to buy drinks, spread around hiring fees, look for daredevils, a low-risk challenge that uses your hearts. We have a high success rate. We'll go ahead and do this. And we've got 2 more crews, so we're up to a total of 8. That's 1 more than I would really like to have, but I'm not going to be able to get rid of 1 easily. Your tall tales find a ready audience. Scarred and seasoned men and women tramp aboard and find places to sling hammocks. Alright, so now we've got this taken care of. Our hull's in pretty good shape. I don't think we really need to repair it. We're not in dire need of repairing it, but if we wanted to repair it, we could do one of the cheaper options perhaps. But let's see what else we can get done down here first. Let's go ahead and carouse at the docks. Sea shanties, fine food, and the warmth of a pub fire. And something more. You were fortunate. You've lost 5 terror, you've lost 10 echoes, we now have 1 recent news, and we've lost another day, free evening. Also, at night at the Wolf Stack, you find yourself sharing a table with a likely lass, a dapper chap, or someone whose name you do not afterwards recall. We'll go ahead and do the likely lass, because this is one of the ways that you can pick up a scion. The next morning, she gives you a pewter locket. As you reach for it, she grips it briefly in her fist. Don't you dare forget me, she says. You now have one of this, a locket with a likely lass's portrait. You've lost 3 terror. Trouble and romance. She typically claims to be a spy. Whatever she is, she's easy to like, and when the evening ends, you're still together. Okay. Let's see. We have the Roser's Wharf. We should take a look and see what's going on at the Roser's Wharf. So, the Roser's Wharf is an interesting place where you can get, basically, you can sell things for pretty good prices here. But these are random, so you never know what's going to show up here, or how much you're going to be able to sell things for. It's almost always at a profit when they're here, though. A starving poet is looking for solace fruit. I need a sonnet, he exclaims, jangling a pocket full of echoes. The veteran privy councillor is seeking an outlandish artifact. He is there surveying curios from distant ports with palace servants in muted slippers. The empress dislikes loud noises. And then there is the chance to usher new buyers to the market. So if you don't like the things that are here and you have a free day, you can choose this option, and it will generally give you some new options to try to sell. We want to check this periodically because, for example, if somebody was, say, looking for a firkin of prisoner's honey, we could sell that for a really good price. But not today, unfortunately. Also, the merchant venturer. An urchin tugs your sleeve. Governor wants a word. A brooding figure waits at the lamp's light's edge. Speak to the merchant venturer. I have need of a reliable agent. Failing that, an inventive one. Here are my requirements. An occurrence. An opportunity for profit. He has very specific needs, but he'll pay much better than market rates, and he won't ask how you came by these things. So this is another fairly long quest, but if you can complete it, it's very lucrative. 500 echoes for 7 peculiar fish courses, a very fine price. So 7 strange catches, we could get a lot of those from killing certain types of sea beasts. There's also a couple of places, ports you can actually purchase these, but I believe they're fairly expensive. I imagine you'll need to hunt things, fierce things. 500 echoes for 7 pieces. 7 hunting trophies. These also come from Z-Beasts. So if we wanted to accomplish these tasks, we're going to have to probably outfit our ship with slightly better weaponry, or maybe even look for a more reliable hunting vessel. Looks like we have some people in the chat. How are you doing this fine evening? If you have anything to add, please type it. I'll try to keep my eyes on the chat there so I can respond to any questions or comments that you guys have. Let's see. What else do we need to do before we head out? I don't really think there's anything at the Alarming Scholar that I want to sell. How many of these do we have now? We have 2 Z stories, 3 memories of distant shores, one lamentable relic. Actually, we do have the lamentable relic. I think I'll hold on to that for now. I suppose that's just about it. We visited here, we visited here. So back to London and to the shops. Okay, so we ended up with 13 fuel. I think we had one when we ended. Yeah, clearly we had one. So almost zero. 19% of 1. So we have 13 now. So we got 12 new fuel for that trip. And what else? We ended with 8 supplies. And we have plenty of space that we can use to buy a variety of other things. I could sell the firkin of honey for 20, but I think I'll hold on to it for now. Buying a bunch of mushroom wine might not be a bad idea. We can make a little bit of money by selling it at one of the very close places. We could also do a run to the south and sell the dark drop coffee beans for a pretty good echo price. Especially if we can do it relatively cheaply. It only takes about 10 fuel to get from here to Port Carnelian, and we picked up more than 10 fuel on this little trip that we took. So we could make that run, at least half of it, for free. We would have to buy fuel in Port Carnelian, but fuel's pretty cheap there, as I recall. And then we could make the dark drop coffee bean run. Unfortunately, it's not a great thing to do until you have, say, no other better options. And really the best option we have right now is just to run Sphinx Stone back and forth for a while. And that's really what I want to focus on. One thing that I am interested in doing, however, is buying a better weapon. This one is only 500 echoes, and it's significantly better than the weapon that we have. We currently have the cheapest gun in the game, which is roughly half the damage. So this is basically double the damage of the weapon that we currently own. This one will do approximately 8 damage per attack. This one does about 15, and it only costs 500 echoes. There is a slightly better deck gun. I believe it's the Hell Thrasher, which does 18. But it costs nearly double. Now, these other nice weapons we can't really pick up. They're just a little bit too expensive, and some of them require torpedoes, so we would have to buy torpedo parts in order to do that. So we're just not going to be able to get most of these. This was a really nice item that you can put on your ship that will allow you to run your engines at full power without having the chance to explode, which is very nice. But unfortunately, our current ship doesn't have an aft slot, so we can't use that. But I believe that this is definitely worth doing. So I'm going to go ahead and buy that, and then we'll go ahead and sell that one. Go to our hold, and you can see that our deck gun is missing. We'll replace that with that, and that should make any combat that we encounter much easier than it was the last couple of outings. We should be able to kill some things in one shot now, and some of the less risky things in 2 or 3. Pirate ships are still going to be a problem, but if you use the trick that I used before where you kind of stay behind them, it's not too dangerous, although you will have to pay for some repairs eventually. I don't believe there's too much else that we want to do. Engines is another option that we can try to improve. But remember, every time we improve our engines, we're going to spend more money on fuel. All of the other engines are less fuel efficient than the Elderly Steeple. The Elderly Steeple, while not particularly powerful or fast, definitely are the most fuel efficient engines in the game. And that includes engines that have fuel efficiency tied into them. Which is counterintuitive. For example, the Serpentine says that it has plus 10% fuel efficiency, but the 1800 engine power makes it less fuel efficient than the 800 power engines, even with that fuel efficiency. So we're not going to have enough money to buy this and still have echoes left over to do anything else. And we need a portion of echoes to replace supplies and to purchase trade goods. We'll need to keep at least 200 echoes on hand so that we can do the Sphinx Stone run. I think we're just about ready to head out, though. As far as supplies go, I really wish we could find the funging station, because there's a nice trick you can use to grab a bunch of supplies. But barring that, I'm trying to remember where the cheapest place to buy supplies is. There's a couple of places that aren't too bad. I'm not sure. I would like to have at least 10 supplies when we leave port. We'll save the fuel. We can purchase fuel cheaper at the Iron Republic or some of the other locations that we might visit. So we don't need to buy fuel here. We have plenty. And I did... Let's go to the shipyard, not the shipyard, the dry dock. Where's the dry dock at? I gotta go to London. Go to the dry dock for a moment and see how much it would cost. 3 supplies is 60. 75. Yeah, we'll just hold off. 60 hull is enough. As long as we're careful and don't get into too many dangerous fights, we should be fine. Alright, let's take a look at our map and figure out what route we want to take. So, as of right now, the things that we definitely need to hit are the Salt Lions and Mount Palmerston. I don't necessarily need to head south to Port Carnelian right now, but I do still need to find the funging station. It does not look like the funging station is in this particular stripe of the map. You'll see as we uncover the map that it's sort of divided into stripes. So we have the first zone, the second zone, this is the third zone. It's very likely somewhere in the third zone. So one of the things that we could do is head to the north, visit Mount Palmerston, drop off the Blind Bruiser's package, and then from there head over here and south and uncover all of this region, catching Gator's Morn and back to the Salt Lions. That might be the best route that we can take, and when we do this route, we might even be able to uncover some of this territory. So if we take our ship down to Mutton Island first, head north to Hunter's Keep, we'll uncover a good portion of this, and then up to Venderbight, Wither, Codex, Mount Palmerston. I think that's the route that I'm going to course or plot for this particular playthrough, and hopefully we'll see some new stuff when we head over into the unknown. So that's the plan. Down to Mutton Island first then. No lights are needed for this. restless night. A tough challenge. We'll ignore them for now. We got a crab. This will be a much easier fight. Don't you dare forget me. You stand on the bridge with the likely lass's locket in your hand. It's a risk for both of you. Shorebound lovers grow lonely and sea captains die young. We can keep the locket or we can throw it away. I'm going to go ahead and keep the locket because we want to try to get a scion. We've lost one terror and we now have a sweetheart in London. Alright, this should take care of butchering it for a supply. You can see our food hunger is pretty high, so this is a really good time to pick this one up whenever your hunger is high. Head down to Mutton Island. Reoccurring nightmares. You have begun to dream of a vast eye. It knows you. You cannot evade its gaze. Okay. A black, unsleeping taste. Again and again, you are alone in the wide black sea. The eye is aware. Your nightmare will come up from time to time, inspiring terror. Gain restful nights at your lodgings to help resist it. If you defeat it, you may gain a secret. You've begun to suffer nightmares of the vast eye. Oh, that's kind of unfortunate. Perhaps I should have rested at the lodge. Quaker's Haven. Again, we'll chat with the fishermen, get our port report for now, and explore the shore. Wander a little way along the shore from the dock. A contest of riddles. Fisherfolk Zailers, a shady couple of likely pirates. And is that a drownie down by the water's edge? They sit around a fire at the Z's edge, passing around a bottle of something viscously black. They're wagering on riddles. Will you join them? Tough challenge. One of the fishermen is bursting to try it. 1 echo for a tough pages challenge. Seek a real challenge for 10 echoes, or attempt one of the riddles of the pearl, or attempt one of the great riddles of iron. We don't have the 1,000 echoes. We'll do the tough challenge. 1 echo is fine. One of the fishermen is busting to try. A cat's shadow. The fisherman grumbles, but pays up. You succeeded in a pages challenge. Cool. So we just got 10 fragments, and we've gained an echo. Very good. Not sure we want to do any of these. This is one we'll want to do soon, but not today. We don't have our Zubmariner yet. Alright, so now that we've headed here, we want to head slightly to the east and then straight north all the way up to uncover more of the map. There probably won't be anything of value, but it's always good to uncover the map because, again, uncovering the map gives you more fragments, which lead to more secrets. Almost there. There we go. And now we can head north. We can try to fight this anchor crab, but this is pretty dangerous. He's underwater. Oh! Move, 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 move! Ow! Ow! Well, that might be the last thing we want to fight for. Alright, the shell is shattered, the glow Ilike lies silent. Butcher it for supplies, and occasionally other oddities, or a tough pages challenge. We can save a supply. We're just about to scroll over, so this is actually a good time to butcher this one as well. And not only did we save a supply, but we got an unprepossessing mass. Possessing mass? I'm not sure what that means. An appalling glob of organic matter and dripping fluids, retrieved from somewhere you'd rather not think about. Well, there you go. There is probably something horrible inside, but possibly there is not. Choice cuts, it won't keep, but it looks tasty, or fling it overboard. You will gain nothing, but you won't suffer terror effects. I'm not sure if we want to eat this, but sure, why not? Two sailors complained that the meat sighs melodramatically when cutlery is applied to it. They are probably engaging in mischief, but your crew becomes nervous. Nervous, but satiated. You've lost 48 hunger. You've gained 1 terror. Alright, well, we gained supplies in that little endeavor, although we did lose some hull. That's kind of unfortunate. We also lost a little bit of ground. But we'll be fine. We'll be able to resupply in Mount Palmerston. There's a light over here I can drift through that will be helpful. Off. I think we'll just head straight north to whatever's. I think it's a lighthouse or a light boat. I can't remember which. Or maybe that's Abbey Rock and we just haven't uncovered it. I think that is Abbey Rock, to be honest. Why, yes it is. That's fine. We'll be able to drift here for a second. Off. Alright, to Abbey Rock. compile a port report. Knock on the iron-studded gates with news. Perhaps they'll find it valuable. Watch the Covenant. Might as well watch them. 5 fragments for free. I only have one recent news. I think we'll go ahead and hold on to it. There are some other places where I think I might rather spend this. I think there actually is a really good event that you can get from doing this occasionally, but we'll do it one more time here. Yeah, we just lost a little bit of terror. The muscular prioress, the abbess, lieutenant comes to the door to listen. She nods and makes notes. She pays particular attention of the news of marsh beasts and predations and traffic of the rooftops. In return, she offers a rather perfunctory blessing, but the blessing reassures your crew. Very nice. Alright, they're not going to open up and talk to us anymore, so we're on our way. Alright, so from here, I suppose we could go to Shepherd Isle real quick and then bounce to Venderbite and up to Wither and Codex and Palmerston. And remember, in the early game, it's all about the port reports. Everything is about getting those sweet, sweet port reports. That is how you sustain yourself. Alright, compile a port report. Why, of course, we will. Unfortunately, because we didn't travel far enough, there is no something awaits, so some of the options are missing. We could buy supplies, but there's no need to do that. I think we'll just head back around towards Venderbite, and I will try to uncover more of the map as I do so, in an effort to gain more fragments. So we'll kind of cut through here. Run with our lights off and on periodically to try to save on fuel. And minimize our terror gain. Are looking pretty good so far. Now we have the something awaits us, which is some bats. And the bats are gather the corpses into the pot, or slightly reduce terror. Our terror is good, so we're going to do this. We gain supply. And 1 terror. Notice that we are burning through fuel a lot faster this time because we're not running along the shore with our lights off. I'm keeping the lights on almost exclusively. And that is costing us significantly more fuel. But, like I said, we have the echoes now to pay for fuel, especially at the cheaper ports, like Palmerston, where we're heading. Gather gossip, get our port report, and we have explore Venderbite. We've read all this before. Let's see. This is new. Monumental ruins. The builders of this place worked with great slabs of neat wall stone, carved with the blank-eyed, unsmiling faces and blocky, stoic serpents. Search warily. The Neath is rarely gentle. Treat this place as enemy territory. A very chancy challenge, or we could have a picnic. Our mirror's quality is pretty high. Perhaps we should why is my mouse not working? I'm not sure what's going on with my mouse here, but yeah, I can't right click for some reason. That's very weird. It's like my button's not working. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and give it a try. And we failed. This place was deserted long ago. You find traces of guilt on a shattered altar, remnants of vermilion paint on a rotting ritual mask. Nothing else. Challenge failed. 1 fragment and 1 tear. Nothing to buy here, I don't believe. Could sell some memories of distant shores, but I think there's better places to sell those. Alright, if we head straight north, we'll uncover just a little bit more of the map and then hit Wither and Codex. So that's the plan. We'll probably have to run with our lights off for part of this because there's almost always a life berg up here. And that is a scary thing I do not want to mess with. There's also sometimes a pirate ship, and we can probably fight that. Cool. There he is. We do not want to get too close to him. If he starts moving too close to us, we might have to use engines to get away, because they have 400 health. They're fairly easy to kite later in the game once you have better ships and engines, but if they hit you, they do a lot of damage. Alright. On to Wither and a port report. And explore the town. Who will try? Who will buy? A street vendor returns skewers on the grill. The mixed scents are nothing like anything sold in London. We could try the jellyfish. We could try something mysterious. Or we could try the troglodyte. Troglodyte's probably the best choice for us right now. 2 terror, 1 fragment, and 5 hunger. Very good. We don't need to go to the House of Questions, but the shops, I could sell the Z stories for fuel here. I think I'm going to hold on to them because I'm pretty sure I know where I want to use them. However, how many Tales of Terror do we have? Three. So I could buy 1 supply and still have a Tale of Terror tow. I think I'm gonna pass. We'll hold on to our Tales of Terror for now. Alright, so then it's off to Codex. Isle of Codex. Just a port report here, nothing else to do. And then it's off to Mount Palmerston. If we want, we can uncover all of this little patch of darkness. It shouldn't be too hard to do. We'll just head south and then sort of at an angle to reach Palmerston. There could be some enemies here that make that difficult. We definitely have the fuel to sort of skirt around enemies if we need to. So first to the south. Looks like there's a fog bank. That will actually help with our fuel efficiency because I can turn my lights off in the fog. Lights do not do any good in the fog. Almost there. We can head this way. Lights out. All but one, it looks like. Uh-oh. Alright. We've got to go. I think we got away from that Corsair. That was a little dicey. We did take a hit, but we suffered 0 damage. I'm not sure why. Maybe because of the fog? We got hit twice, but suffered 0 damage. That's bizarre. I don't think I've ever been hit and taken 0 damage before. We didn't lose any crew either, so it worked out, but that was a little bit dicey. Alright, let's visit the Wistful Devilice again and see if we have anything. The road to the crater ends at a brass gate in the crater wall. Beside it stands an oddly charming little cottage. We've already read that. A hesitant request. Do you happen to have a case of souls for me? No, I'm not going to eat them. We don't eat souls, usually. I'm not clear how that story got around. I told you that I miss London. I miss hell. I'd like a keepsake. And all souls are ours, you know, by right. Or we could concede her our soul. Or you could just lend me yours. She bites her lip and looks up into your eyes. I'll keep it safe, much safer than at Z. If you drowned, it'll be here with me for always. Mortals do drown so. She places a slender, shallow hand on your wrist. Through your cuff, it's warm as a stone in the sun. It won't hurt at all. Refuse tactfully. You do not at the moment feel that the Deviless needs any more human souls. Well, I don't have a crate of human souls, so I won't be able to do this one. But we could do this one. Sure, why not? What's the worst that could happen, right? Let's see. Perhaps this is how a bottle feels when it's uncorked. A moment of nervousness, a moment of release, and then a certain freedom. The Deviless smiles radiantly, holding up your soul in its jar, cuddling it like a kitten. Let me tell you something very special. She whispers it in your ear. Her breath smells like hot stone. But you should go now. Thank you. Come back soon. Alright, so our quality has moved up to 30 with her, which is good. We've gained 1 secret. We've lost our soul. And, yeah. Continued that quest line. We'll see what we can do later on with her. We do need to deliver our smuggled goods, the unstamped crate of brilliant souls. A hooded figure with a lantern waits at the far end of the quay. You give the hooded shape a sign of recognition. It hisses the reply you had expected. You hand over the crate and receive a chitty marked with the thief's sign. You'll receive the promised remuneration in London. Alright, what else can we do here? We can chat with the port folk and get a port report, which I think we should do. And then, matter of luck. We have a 60% chance to do something good with our supplies. I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice today. Unfortunately, things did not go very good. One wall of a barn still stands. Someone has gouged words into it, in one of the lesser alphabets of hell. An account of a dream of the usurper's son, of its geared teeth sunk deep into the roots of time, of its servants in robes of gold and amber, of its beauty and its lies. You were unlucky. Better luck next time. You've lost 2 supplies, gained 5 terror, but we now have 1 intriguing snippet, and a memory of a distant shore. We have quite a few of those at this point. We could try it again, but we don't really have the supplies to be wasting them on tries. At least not more than once. So, shops and fuel. We need to buy a bunch of fuel. How much fuel? Well, it took us about 7 to get where we're at. So let's take a look. So from here to here took us about 7, and we did make a little detour to Mutton Island. So I'm thinking we're gonna need at least 10 to finish scouting this and then get back here. We'll definitely want to hit the salt lions. So what? 10, and then supplies are 22 here. I'm going to pass on the supplies. We have enough to get by for a while. I'll go 11, just in case. Alright, we're heading, I think, just due east. We're just going to uncover whatever we find over here. Crap, another Corsair. Get away, get away! No, 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 no. He's looking for us. Alright. Looks like we're about to reach a new location. And he's finally broken off. Well, running with lights off will definitely make the trip a little bit faster or more fuel efficient. But we'll gain a bunch of terror. You can see we're already over... looks like we're right around 50 again. I can't even see the port. Ah, there it is. Alright, the Chapel of Lights. Do you hear music? Furtive faithful gather in the shadows between the many, many candles. A bell tolls in the chapel tower. Cracked iron laughter. Beware, the aisle is full of voices. We can eat of the chapel's bounty. A smiling priest unlocks the door of the storehouse for you. Here, he says, eat, but take nothing away with you. We could give a nightmare to the well. This will reduce their nightmare strength, but will also scar you permanently and increase your wounds by 1. 3 wounds will kill you. We don't have the ability to do that. We should gather intelligence. Let's do that first. A smiling priest in a red cassock tends the chapel. The congregation are shy of light. They come and go in little ships, and it's strangely difficult to count them. Perhaps some of them are imaginary. Still, you note the name of a ship or two. Attend a service at the chapel. The great bell tolls. The few and ragged faithful gather at St. Arthur's lesson. Bring your offerings. A low-risk challenge. 5 supplies. That's quite pricey and would put us in very bad shape. So we're going to go ahead and eat. A smiling priest unlocks the door. Oh, we already read that. They have shark steaks plucked from the sea. Thin slices of cavern tuna, translucent and delicate as paper. Little crimson cakes flavored with cinnamon and coated with poppy seeds. Tomatoes, impossibly ripe and sweet, so far from the surface. Gorge yourself. Leave the juices dripping from your chin. You've lost 24 hunger, so that basically saved us half of supply. And no shops, no shipyard. Alright, well, from here, we probably want to head south to Gator's Morn. So I think that's where I'm going to go. We don't need our lights while we're in the fog. But if I can get out of the fog, actually. Ah, Kingstar Vortex. Alright, we'll head back towards the center of this. Third zone. So far, nothing. Nothing but the black open Z. We're getting closer to something. Looks like we have some buoys. Oh. Well, I don't think we have enough hull to be messing with another crab. So I'm going to try to avoid it. Looks like we're at another lighthouse. Wait, I see a port. Ah, that looks like what we're looking for. The Funging Station at last. Iron and Misery Company Funging Station. Mutton Island. Alright, well. That was awful convenient. This is a good place to be. Irondim has a funger operation here, felling giant bulbous shrooms for building materials, harvesting Kireli for its medicinal properties. It's a desperate little outpost of something like civilization. Up puffs the affable Fector. Oh, hello, Captain. Thank you. Thank God for visitors. We'd go quite mad out here otherwise. Ha 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 ha. Quite mad. How can we be of assistance? Well, first things first. Stand in the right place at the right time for the gnomic gallivants. I don't like comedians. I'm a very serious man, but we agree on one thing, timing. That's why I'm breaking into the Factor's home and why I need you to distract him until I found a special itinerary. I forgot about this guy. This was the informant that we picked up at the very beginning when we first started our game. And we took him to the Kuman Canal where he broke in and stole some information. This was the second part of his quest. So we'll need to do that, so let's go ahead and do it. A pleasant distraction. It just so happens that you bump into the Factor on his walk home. What a happy coincidence! You couldn't possibly manage this entire picnic basket by yourself. Overjoyed to have company, he joins you on a bench for the next hour, merrily eating sandwiches. You take your leave once you have seen the Gallivant pass by. Back on your deck, the Gallivant laughs jovially. His rubies wink in the light. Iron and Misery will be sending a representative to the contest in Port Cecil. There is a full itinerary for all of the events, tailored for every attendee. I have the dictator's moves mapped. Okay, ready to visit the chess tournament in Port Cecil. This is our Admiralty's quest. Give the pass sign to the affable effector. The Admiralty asked you to bring back strategic information. This is your contract. Yes, I have it here. The courier ship to Mount Palmerston stopped off to resupply. Tell the Admiralty. Tell them I miss my children. Tell them I can't take it much longer. The spores, the dark. You now have one strategic information, and you've completed your commission for the Admiralty. We could explore the island, or we could have tea. We could accept a volunteer, which we definitely do not need. One echo. One more mouth to feed for one echo. Something to consider. This is one of the reasons why this is a very nice place to figure out early in the game. If your terror is less than 50, you have the option to gather supplies here for free, essentially. But once your terror is above 50, your crew is unwilling to go into the funging area and gather supplies, so can't do that. Let's go ahead and have tea with the Factor. This usually is pretty good. An interlude. You sit on the verandah of the Factor's house, looking out over the fungal jungle. An expanse of green and sour gold. The air is thick with hovering spores. The scones are stale. Even the tea has a hint of mildew. But the Factor is a good company. He shares odd stories about the ice and roses of Iron, the monstrosities of the Sea of Lilies, and a little restaurant in Venderbite where he enjoyed the most extraordinary seafood. Venderbite. I know. I've never met a tomb colonist who could cook, but you must visit the place. Do you know of it? He also has a load of bulges frond carted aboard your ship. He waves away your thanks. I have eaten so much of the stuff I fear that I might be transformed entirely into fungus. He leans confidently toward you. It happens, you know. But one does have to eat rather a lot of it first. We gained 1 supply, 3 fragments, lost some terror, and we've been told of an exceptionally fine restaurant in Venderbite. Alright, what else can we do here? Shops, we can buy things here, but they're fairly expensive. Nothing at the shipyard, so I think we'll just move on our way. That was a good portion of our quest that we needed. We still have 9 fuel and 6 supplies, so let's think about plotting a course from here. What could we do with 9 fuel and 6 supplies? Well, I think at most it's only going to take us 3 fuel from our current position if we headed straight to the salt lines and to London. So we should probably head south to Gatorsmorn and get that. A port report from Gatorsmorn can be risky because of all the pirate ships. And our hull is quite low. If we get in a fight, we could be in real trouble. This is one of those situations where it might make sense to just call it good and finish the salt line shipment. Or we could take some risks. We could try to uncover something new and go around Gatorsmorn. I think we're going to not take the risk this particular trip and save that for a future trip. So we're going to head pretty much straight from here to the salt lines. I am going to try to uncover as much of the map as possible. In doing so, but we're not going to actually go to Gatorsmorn. I'm also going to go ahead and run with my lights on, or maybe not. Accumulating terror at this point is somewhat irrelevant as long as we're going directly back to London, which will save us on fuel. So I don't mind gaining more terror as long as we don't hit like 70. We've got plenty. Plus we're in a fog bank anyways, so. Oh boy. Sailors at the rail call softly. Something swims beneath the ship. I saw it. Horrors below. A tough challenge. We failed the last time we attempted this. How risky am I feeling? We've gained 1 terror. No worries. 1 terror I can handle. Alright. One of these days we'll pass that challenge. That's 2 times now that we've failed to finish it. Here, Patrick's Lot, and then we can head back this way and get this last little bit. Alright, and the fog dissipates, and it's off to the salt mines. I might make a quick stop. No, couldn't make it in time. Might make a quick stop at the whatchamacallit over here. The light boat. So now that we have some of the submarine stuff unlocked, we're starting to see a lot of the submarine ports, but we can't actually go to any of them until we get our submarine fully unlocked. What's our terror at? We're at 67. Alright, now's the time that we want to start scaling that terror back before bad things start happening again. Oh, get there, get there. There we go. Salt lions. We will agree to carry that. We will get a port report. I can only do this once because I don't have enough hold space to do it twice. Be careful not to click on that twice. It will actually force you to do it. At which point you'll have to throw 20 units out, which would not be a good thing. And then the last thing, visit the Unmakers. Lost 5 terror. That'll help us a little bit. Don't have to worry quite so much about getting back to London right away. Now that I think about it, we didn't actually visit Hunter's Keep. So I'm pretty sure we could do that on our way back. But I'm pretty sure we did go to Venderbite, yeah. So there's no sense in doing anything but maybe hitting Hunter's Keep on our way out. Or sorry, our way back to London. So, off to Hunter's Keep. Do not want to fight you. Crap. Oh dear. Ooh. He's chasing, and I have a nightmare all at the same time. Lovely. The sea is bright as milk. False stars above are black on a pitchy bed. Something is watching you. Its gaze enfolds your boat. You are transparent as glass. Flee the nightmare. Turn the helm and flee across the milk-bright sea. This will reduce the nightmare's strength. If it reaches 0, the nightmare will fade entirely. If you have any restful nights, they'll reduce the difficulty. we should be able to pass that challenge. Or we could go deeper into the nightmare, but it will give us a wound. We'll just reduce it. You've lost 1 restful night. You've gained 1 terror. Your dreams have passed. You've lost 1 terror. Well, we're not going to have to worry about terror here much longer. They're not letting us get away. That is a fast little boat. Okay. Dreams of a city. Here is a city of sandstone and granite. The inhabitants walk gossiping in the streets, sipping dark wines. They are dressed for a warm day, but it is the night of a neath here. There is an air of uneasy celebration. Listen, what are they saying? Or follow, what are they doing? Let's listen to them. There is an air of celebration. As with many languages spoken in dreams, you understand the meaning without understanding the words. A great disaster has been averted. The king's folly is ended by the princess' cunning. The heralds of night are bound. Yes, the sun is gone, and no, the places below ground are not what had been taught, but perhaps that's for the best, considering. It will be remembered. They will mark their triumph. You wake. What language were they speaking? We gained some fragments and some terror. And we finally outran that ship, but our hull is in pretty bad shape. Hunter's Keep. If we look at our journal, I have Stone's attention and Storm's attention. I need Salt's attention. So that would be lunch with Cynthia. And we now have Salt's attention, another Tale of Terror, another supply. It looks good. Alright. Alright, anything else we need to do other than just spend a little time away from the ports so we can get our something awaits us. I don't need to be using up more fuel. Leave the lights off. I actually need to uncover a little bit of the map down here. Well, we've got our... If I needed more time, there's a little nook that you can sail into and uncover a few fragments. Alright, we can go ahead and move back to normal speed. And... there we go. The Revenue Men. Her enduring majesty, customs service works closely with both the military of public decency and the masters of the bazaar. Today they have selected you for inspection. Don't cheek them. Let them do their worst. If we don't have any of these things, we just let them search our ships because there's nothing on board. Declare all controlled goods. Pay echoes. Talk your way out of the search. We could try that, but there's no need to. We'll just go with this one. They roam your deck like wolves. They tear through your belongings like termites. At last they leave. A breath of relief. Terror has dropped down to 50 from 68, I believe it was. You now have 2 menaces. So our nightmare strength is pretty high. We're going to want to rest a couple of days to try to make those a little easier to deal with. Alright, all kinds of new people. All the clatter and the song on the dockside, it soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? Let's see. We've seen all of this before, so I'm going to skip that. But I forgot to click on this one, and I must have done something to kick her out of the queue because she wasn't there any longer. Employ the Clatterly Heir. Her talents could be well employed on your vessel. The Clatterly Heir is a doctor who increases hearts and irons. She costs 30 echoes to bring on board. Consider a specialist surgeon. She is staying at a respectable boarding house near the docks, and has made it known that she is available for work. I specialize in amputations. It's easy to acquire unwanted appendages at Z. This is the character you need to attempt to get the deed to the Clatterly Heart. Or Clattery Heart ship that we looked at earlier. I'm going to go ahead and pick her up. I don't know if we'll do the quest. It's fairly intense and extensive, but she is a pretty good officer to have on board. And just to prove my point, she offers the doctor aboard +1, which is nice. That allows you to interact with certain things that you wouldn't normally be able to. But then +6 hearts and +6 irons, both of which are very valuable to us. So we'll throw her into the surgeon spot. Okay, so far so good. We need to talk to this guy and get our reward. Souls delivered. What a propitious and encouraging occasion this is to meet again, here in this place which has been so very fortunate for us both. Allow me to shake you warmly by the hand, since you have demonstrated your unswavering commitment to fair dealing and honest convoyage. Very good. My patron will toast to you. Accept the payment or refuse the payment. So this is our chance to get out of the services of the blind butcher indefinitely. One of the downsides to staying in his employ is you don't really have the option of turning him down when he comes to talk to you. But most of his tasks are pretty easy to do, so we'll accept payment. They do get more difficult as the game goes on, and there will be some that will cost you dearly if you misplay them. But we'll accept some rewards. That's unfortunate. I should not have done this yet. Well, we'll have to dump 1 fuel. That's okay. 1 fuel's not that expensive. We did get 200 echoes. A little request. Let's see. He's asking us to pick up a package. Let us both drink deeply and well, by which I mean patron as a task for you. Take a payment across the ocean and bring back a little package. We can go ahead and accept this. he's going to give us 1,000 echoes, which is very dangerous because if you accidentally spend these said echoes before you pick up the package, you could be in some pretty big trouble. If you return without the unstamped crate of brilliant souls before completing this task, there is a risk the blind bruiser will take offense. He will become the blind butcher. Okay. So we'll need to make sure we don't spend more than we can. Next, we need to go to London immediately and deliver the Sphinx Stone. That will give us the 500 echoes. And several other things that need to be done. We can visit this gentleman, the Dauntless Hand. Visit Clathermont's Tattoo Parlor. You're a real sailor now, after all. You could go to one of those tobacco and prey places by the docks, but the prices at Clathermont's are reasonable, and his daughters are real artists. But what sign will you choose? So each one of these will cost us something that we have already collected for the most part. And they will permanently increase our stats and permanently decrease, or I shouldn't say permanently, but temporarily decrease our terror for some time. We can only do one of these at a time, but each time we come back, we'll be able to do a different one when he shows up again. He doesn't show up every time we come back to port. So what would be the most valuable to us? I'm thinking maybe irons. Our veils is not particularly high, but more irons would be good. We could also permanently increase our pages with our great moves in the game. This is one of those places that I talked about maybe saving it for. But we have plenty of these. We're now up to 4 of them. So let's go ahead and spend a couple of coins here. We've lost 1 echo. We've lost 25 terror. We've lost 1 tale of terror, but we've gained 2 permanent irons, and we now have a tattoo. Very good. Alright. We're not going to get as many port reports because we didn't do quite the voyage that we did, but we did get the strategic information, which is worth 150 echoes. And we can ask for a new... is there anything he needs? Now he would like us to travel to Khan's Heart, somewhere east of London. I'm familiar with where Khan's Heart is generally located, so we shouldn't have any trouble finding that eventually. It can move around a little bit, so you might have to search a little more than you would like, but it's kind of like we had to do at the Fungine Station. And then we can turn in our port reports that we did manage to collect. We've seen all these, so I won't be reading them. We'll just quickly click through them and get our fuel and echoes and see where we stand money-wise. So far, so good. Oh, this was a new one, actually. Chapel of Lights. There's something about the Unterzee that breeds heresy and dissent. I rather think we might need to send the Bishop of Southwark out for a good bit of Christian shouting. 20 echoes and 1 fuel. Also, Demew was a new one that we picked up. You've been to Demew's Gate? Not much text there. 20 echoes and 1 fuel. Go ahead and get these. And that is all for that. So we're at 1,291 echoes from the last time that we made it back. So that's a little bit more than we had last time. We did spend 500 last time on our new deck gun. One thing that we're having a really hard time with is outrunning ships. These ships and some of these Z-Beasts are really fast, And we are not, even though our ship is very fuel efficient. So perhaps we fix that. I could potentially spend some of my money on a new engine. The Illyrian is 500 echoes, and it will give us 200 additional engine power, which will make our ship slightly faster, but also slightly less fuel efficient. I'm not sure that I want to spend my echoes here. There's actually another item that you can get that will do something similar to this engine, but it's cheaper, and it also has other advantages. I think I may hold out for that. You can actually combine them and get an engine that competes basically with this one. This one's 1500. It costs 1,000. The items that I'm looking at would be, this is 500 plus the other item, We Are Clay, which I think we can sell here. Yes, here it is. So We Are Clay. We can't buy it here, but I know where to get it. It gives you 250 engine power. It removes 3/4 from your ship, so you use fewer supplies, which is nice. And it also provides some irons, which is good. It's 300 echoes, and you can sell it for 300 here if you ever want to get rid of it. So if you combine this item with this engine, the total cost is 800, and it performs almost as good as this engine, which costs 1,000. But it actually has slightly better stats. That's what I'm considering. I don't really think we need to purchase a lamp. We're not doing a ton of fighting. The lamps basically increase your mirrors and can sometimes the higher mirror score will reduce your targeting solution. The ventures, things will not change until we turn in one or both. The rose market could change if we use this, but I think I would rather use it in another way. Let's go to our lodgings real quick and get the morning paper. And then let's rest or... Is it 1,000 echoes to purchase an elegant townhouse? Yes. The elegant townhouse does allow us to more cheaply remove terror each time. And it's a necessary thing to buy, but it would basically put us at 300 echoes. I think we're going to pass this go around. So we'll just do this, and that will give us one restful night, which can be important when we start having nightmares again. We definitely need to visit the dry dock. And we're going to use the Admiralty's favor. We have 15 of these now. It'll cost us 25 echoes and some of the Admiralty's favor to go ahead and repair our ship completely. But that's quite a bit cheaper than other options. And while we have the favor, we might as well use it for that. It's good enough for now. Back to London. And we can carouse on the Wolfstack docks again, or we can hire more crew. We're fine on crew. This is where I messed up last time with the clattery air. if you take a new recruit, this will remove any officers that are offering to sign up. So it's an option that's like one or the other. So because we took her, this one is locked. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this. I am tempted to maybe do the Rose Wharf, though. We won't get this. Yeah, let's do the Rose Wharf this time. I want to try and get a firkin of honey or parabola cloth. Alright, we didn't get either of those things, unfortunately. We've got unread logs or scintillac. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up a little bit early tonight. I'm feeling a little tired and running out of energy, and this is actually a pretty good place to stop. We'll have to remember exactly what we were doing when we come back, but we'll probably do another hour tomorrow night. So if you've been enjoying this stream, please join me tomorrow evening for another hour of Sunless Sea Zubmariner. And until then, this has been The Nose Plays, and you guys have a wonderful evening.